We've got a lot of fantastic information to cover about learning management and having a learning program built into your organization. We have got a fantastic lineup of experts who are joining us today to share all that they know on this subject, and a lot of information that I think is going to help you as you're either continuing to build out your current system or looking for ways to build out this system today. We have a chat going on, so please feel free to engage with one another in the chat, ask questions. We can certainly take those questions and we'll share them live together. But you can all come off mute and turn your cameras on as well. Feel free to do that. And if you have a question, just interrupt. Go ahead and ask it live. This is less presentation and more discussion. We definitely want to make sure that you find value out of today's session. So if there are things you want to learn, we want to make sure you take that opportunity to ask us about it and dive in. Oh. Of course, when you click off the screen, it goes too far. So as I mentioned, there are 4 of us that are going to be sharing some best practices and expertise with you today. My name is Amy Jenkins. I am the Director of Client Success here at Engagedly. I've been with Engagedly specifically since November, but was with the Employee app for 5 years previous to that, which was recently acquired by Engagedly. So I am excited to be part of this team. Excited to be digging into the world of HR beyond internal communications, which is really where my specialty has lived for a number of years. I led internal communications at Chipotle for 10 years. Was very close to the HR team there as well. And we had a fantastic learning and development program. So I'd love to see all of these things come to life. We also have from Engagedly, Caroline Funk, and I'll turn it over to her to introduce herself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces, or as I should say, some new ones. Excited to introduce the new LXP to those of you who have not seen it and to learn more. Sales engineer here. I also manage our partnerships. So on the sales engineering side, I mainly support our account executives, sometimes our account managers on either prospective client demonstrations and then leading you throughout that sales process, mostly all the pre-sales stuff. And then occasionally do some current client education within the tool. I've been a pretty big part with our team on this LXP and the designing and giving some feedback. So I'm really excited to show you all around and to talk about the enhancements that we've made and some really great ways that your organizations will be able to streamline some of the new tools. Then the other side of my role, I manage our partnerships. So we'll talk a little bit about some of our content partners today in today's conversation and how you may be able to leverage some of their services. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining, and we're looking forward to walking you through all the new enhancements with the LXP.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. We also have Shaylee Trentham, who is joining us from RKD Group, which is a client of Engagedly. And Shaylee has been doing some amazing things utilizing our platform and specifically our LXP. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Shaylee.
Yes, so I am from RKD Group, and we're an ad agency for nonprofits doing incredible work. And our team is dispersed. We're a remote first team. And so we've been able to partner with Engagedly over the course of the past year to get our LMS launched. And really, we're utilizing all of the performance management tools that Engagedly has to offer. But then we've recently moved over to LXP, big fans. And so I'm excited to share a little bit about how our HR team has leveraged that in our team's learning and development and some strategies that we've utilized to really get engagement and enrollment right off the bat of switching over. And we're excited for the future of LXP as well, and ways we will continue to use it and leverage it and optimize our learning culture with it.
Thank you so much, Shaylee. And finally, we have Sarah Link joining us from Open Sesame, which is one of our content partners. And if any of you are currently leveraging a learning platform, you know how critical the content is to that. So Sarah, I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, really excited to join all of you this morning, maybe afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Like Amy mentioned, I am the strategic partner manager at Open Sesame, who manages the the Engagedly relationship. So I work very closely with Caroline to ensure that our joint customers and our internal teams have all of the resources that they need to ensure that they're getting full utilization out of both of our platforms. I come from education. I was in higher ed for 10 years prior to joining Open Sesame. So I'm super passionate about education and lifelong learning. And I'm really excited to talk to you all today about what you can do to ensure that you have the right content within your LMS to drive engagement, employee retention, and positive learning outcomes.
Thank you so much, Sarah. All right, so what all are we going to talk about today? Oops, skipping ahead too fast. Well, we're certainly going to go through the difference between an LMS and an LXP because we're hearing a lot of different language around it today. So we'll kind of get into the deciphering that and why it's so critical to a true HR strategy and building in an excellent employee experience, creating more opportunities for your employees. We will dive into our LXP platform and share some of the updates that we've had, some of those enhancements to the system. Certainly give Shaylee the floor to tell RKD's story, and then we'll turn it over to Sarah to give us a little bit more about Open Sesame and again, the importance of having that content system built out and developed to gain true success. All right, so what's the difference? LMS, LXP, you hear a lot of this language today. And what it really boils down to is that a learning management system is based around the administrator, right? So it's more compliance based. It's the training courses that you're requiring employees to take in order to develop skills within the organization that will help them in their current roles. So that's the traditional place that learning has sat within a lot of organizations today. And some haven't systemized it yet, right? So you're still in the form of having live training sessions. And LMS really opens that door to provide that content to learners in different avenues to track the completion of those courses and see that all in a setting to where, as an administrator and as a leader within the organization, I can get a sense of how we are developing our employees, right? Are we providing them the right tools and resources to be able to excel and grow within our organizations? What's evolving now is going to this concept of LXP, so a learning experience platform. And the difference here is that this tool is really built around your employees, the users of the platform. So not only are there are courses available that apply directly to their existing role and some of those compliance type courses, but it is also an experience where the employee gets to go in and choose their own learning path. If there's areas of interest that they want to engage with, they have the opportunity to go in and select those courses and take them on their own and really develop those skill sets. What we are trying to do at Engagedly is sit in the middle of those two. So we not only have the capabilities of the traditional LMS, but we are also developing the capabilities of that LXP. So we're trying to sit right within this next gen of learning platforms to where as administrators of the service, as HR professionals, we can go in and make sure that we're staying on top of our compliance. We're sending the right courses to help employees with their ongoing development, but we're also giving our employees the capability to expand their knowledge in areas of interest that maybe as their direct manager, I don't even know about yet. But I'm giving them those opportunities and those options to continue to learn and grow. So we are really excited about the future of learning at Engagedly and being able to, through our new LXP platform, bring these two experiences together. But why is having a learning management platform so critical to your HR strategy? It's really about the growth that's about to happen. And this statistic comes from a fantastic article that Shaylee shared with me from Forbes that we'll put in the chat for you as well, because I highly encourage you all to check it out. But it's saying the World Economic Forum calculates that 44% of core skills in the global workforce are going to change by 2028. That's only 4 years away. And we're talking about some significant change and growth. So are we set up to support our employees to stay and keep pace and get ahead of those things that are about to evolve and change? And so having access to a learning management system is going to help you do that because you can track it. You can make sure that employees are taking those courses as they need to, and again, have the opportunity to elevate. So a couple of other key points and how an LMS or an LXP can really enhance that strategy is to facilitate that continuation of learning. When we think about the entire employee experience and even really like total compensation for an employee, learning is part of that. Growth opportunities are a part of that. I know with my team, even directly here at Engagedly, people are excited about opportunities where they get to go out and develop skills, both within their existing job, but also just ongoing professional development. And so when we create those opportunities for our employees, we're going to see retention rise. We're going to see engagement increase because they know that we are investing in them as a person, not only in them in their current role as an employee of our organization. It certainly helps with compliance, right? We all have those standard courses that employees need to take in order to make sure that we're kind of ticking some of those HR boxes. An LMS and an LXP can really enhance that opportunity because it gives employees the opportunity to take those learning courses when and where they need to, right? They're not confined to a classroom setting. You're not confined to paper and pencil to see if they are, passing those quizzes at the end of those courses. An LMS or an LXP can really give the learner the opportunity to engage when it makes the most sense for them and when managers can assign those opportunities for employees when it fits into their schedule. So it's saving you time, it's keeping the productivity high within your organizations. So certainly that improving efficiency and cost effectiveness is a big part of having a program like this as part of your organization. And one of the most critical steps in an employee journey is their onboarding experience, right? If we don't bring them into the organization successfully, their chance of failure versus success is so high. And so having an LMS or an LXP as part of that process helps create that learning path for the employee right from the start. They can clearly see what they need to do in order to be successful in this role. So again, not just the compliance, not just those portions that are kind of the tick the box HR practices, but giving them access to courses around your vision, mission, values. What they mean to your organization, what they can expect about being an employee within your organization is going to set that employee up for success. Again, drive their engagement from day one and help them feel valued within the organization. So now I'm going to turn it over to Caroline to share a little bit about our specific LXP and some of the enhancements we've just made.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Amy. I do think when we think about what we've done to the LXP and some of the enhancements, I mean, it goes into all three layers, right? It's your employee, your manager, and your admin. So all of these enhancements are going to be reflected in each of those experiences and your roles. I will say it's so popular right now that organizations are buying tools like Engagedly and add-ons like LMSs and LXPs to really get that buy-in from employees. They're investing in their learners. They're trying to give them the resources and things that they need to excel in their roles. So that's just one of the really great things that the LXP has done for employees. Within that, we've the ease of use. Whether you're new to Engagedly or you're a seasoned vet at this point, you've probably heard somebody on the Engagedly team talk about the 3-click rule. We'll always continue to reiterate that just of the importance of it. Having an employee come into a system and it taking them even 10 minutes to have to find what they need to get to is obviously unbearable. So we try to remove that pain and make it so simple for the end user to get to the task or get to whatever they need to within 3 clicks and just make it really easy. So LXP will continue to enhance that. Whether you're finding a course that's been assigned to you, whether you're just trying to explore what the organization has been made available to you, all of that will be under 3 clicks. You need to find learning that you've done in the past, again, under 3 clicks. We're just trying to make it as seamless as possible for that end user. We've also enhanced the dashboard for employees. They kind of have their own little learning hub. It's going to match the rest of the UI. It looks really great. It's pretty. It's inviting for your employees. So just all together, just making that easy, simplified, and a better experience for your learners. And then your personalized learning paths. All of these are really cool features, but this one really resonates with me. You're able to tailor learning paths now to your employees' roles, to their job titles. We can map skills to them. We can map competencies. So instead of just an employee having such a broad learning path or courses that might not be relevant to them, we're making that experience more tailored to them and their growth and development within your organization. And then the course recommendations, probably my favorite personal enhancement we have made. This one is honestly so cool for employees, your managers, and your admins. So if you think about the employee experience, what this is going to do is based on what your role is, your job title, any groups you may be associated with, it is going to now recommend courses for you to take. There are also a multitude of different factors that'll play into course recommendations. Again, I mentioned a couple there, but skills, competencies you may have, what your peers are taking, so many different factors that'll roll into how a course is being recommended to you. But it just makes it easy. Again, going back to the employee, how do they find content that'll be relevant to their development? We're putting courses in front of them. They don't have to do too much legwork there. Course recommendations will also be relevant to your managers and your admins as well. So I know it's probably been tricky in the past for even just nudging employees to get into the system. That's going to be alleviated, but we're also going to be able to just recommend courses to them. If you have inactive users, how can we easily get that content out to them? Again, simplifying the process and making it better. Wish lists are another cool feature as well. I say cool, but all of this are making it an enhanced experience, and it really is just going to make it so much better for everyone. Wish lists are kind of like a save for later feature. So if you're a learner in the system, you're exploring content, let's say you see something that, hey, that looks really great. I definitely should take that. That is all about what I am trying to do in my role, where I want to get to. Maybe you don't have the bandwidth to do it today or this week. You can save it for later and add it to your wish list so you can come back and complete it at a later time. And then our upskilling, reskilling, obviously this is a really important topic within just HR in general, ensuring that employees have the skills that they need within their current roles and that they are given the content and things, training, learning that they need to have in order to get to that next role and to that advancement. So with our new LXP, we're actually able to attach skills and competencies to them. And that's all going to be intertwined within the whole system. So many of you are using the performance suite. So when you think about, being able to intertwine them and have that correlation, the upskilling feature and reskilling is it's just really going to enhance that correlation and be able to see you have your high performers who have these types of skills. What courses are they taking? It's really also just going to drive that initiative for what content do you need? What are people interested in? And how is all of this going to support the organization? So just a few right there, but all in all, these are some of the highlights that we have in enhancing that overall learner experience. And then what's new overall? So you've probably seen maybe some screenshots, maybe some videos, but just the revamped UI. So again, we're making it prettier. It's matching the rest of the interface now. You have those blue indigo colors. They're proven to be just incredibly inviting for that end user. So we're making it, just feel more of their own system, if you will, rather than just another random software that they have to get into. We do have an Engagedly Academy integration that is coming. So you all know that we have current content partners right now, but we do also have some of our own content. So best practices around performance management, how to give feedback, how to be constructive with that. We also have click-through videos, like training videos. So those will all be integrated within the LXP now. For example, let's say you have a new hire who has recently joined your organization and you would like to send them through a process of how to complete a self-review, or how do I share feedback? How do I request feedback? All of that will be directly within the LXP. So then you can assign that out. You can even automate those processes when your new hires come on board, training on how to use Engagedly. Just an example there, but the Engagedly Academy is going to be a really great resource for any newcomers joining, or if you ever need a refresher on how to utilize the tool. Again, we have those course recommendations that I had mentioned. Those are going to be beneficial for all three experiences: your employees, your managers, and your administrators. Your reoccurrence and validity. So courses can now reoccur. This has been one of our one of the major requests within enhancing this the LXP. So if you have, whether they're compliance or whether they're just things that you want to reoccur on a specific time period, you have that ability for them to automatically reoccur. Just again, taking hands off, you're not so hands-on, I should say, with the LXP, and you can, as administrators or as leaders, you can spend your time doing so many more valuable things rather than having so many manual tasks to complete. So the reoccurrence is a really great feature. And then your validity as well. So you can set time periods for how long you want a course to be valid for. So this can be anything. We've talked about mission, vision, values, importing that into the LXP and having employees refresh on what your mission is and what your values are. So maybe you want to have them take that every 6 months, or maybe, there's things that you want to have a refresher on monthly. You can set your validity time period, and also have those reoccur as well. And then the fifth one, this was also one of the most popular requests, is the compliance, just compliance ability, really. So, through some of our partnerships that we have, you can pull in compliance courses. So whether that's something that's state specific or whether that is industry specific, being an organization that has so many clients that are just in so many different geographic locations, we understand that all those locations have different requirements. So what this is going to do is allow you to now mark courses compliant. And again, if they need to reoccur automatically, how long you need to be compliant for. So we're really helping and supporting in those regulated industries and providing some solutions in order to stay compliant. You have great reporting on it as well. All in all, just again, simplifying the process. All I have on that one, Amy. All right, and then our content partners. First off, we have a great relationship with all of our content partners. They're all wonderful. We do have Sarah here to talk to us about Open Sesame specifically, so I'll let her shine there. But to highlight on Open Sesame, Sarah, obviously you and your team have been so wonderful to work with. Open Sesame is a really great partner. They have over 30,000 courses from the world's top publishers. They also support us in having tailored customer calls. So if you have been on one, you probably know how fantastic they are with just understanding your needs and doing a really great discovery, building you tailored plans on or tailored courses, tailored learning paths. So they're a really great partner. They have so much content. All of their content is kept up to date. You also receive really great pricing by going through Engagedly, but nonetheless, a great partner. I'll let Sarah shine a little bit more when we get over to them, but they've been a partner for a while, and we, of course, highly recommend checking out some of their content. And then Biz Library is another one. We have a phenomenal relationship with Biz Library as well. They have about 13,000 courses, all ranging from your compliance, your leadership development, skill-based, industry-specific. The list goes on, but they also have it all. One really, really great thing about going through Biz Library is that they actually have content bundles, like pre-bundled content. So these are things like leadership development or performance management. To give you an example, let's say your organization is getting ready to roll out OKRs or SMART goals, but maybe not everybody has the knowledge or experience in setting goals or how to go through that process. You can get a bundled package from Biz Library, teaching you exactly how to, pardon me, teaching your teams exactly how to do some of those processes. So that content is pre-bundled, it's ready to go, as well as some of their compliance. Treliant, I'll say this is the last one I'll talk about today in terms of our partners, but Treliant is also one of the leading vendors when it comes to solely compliance. So if your organization is looking for solely compliance and you don't need some of the rest of the the skill development, the leadership training and all of that, those added things, Treliant would most likely be the one to go through when it comes to compliance. Again, really great partner. They keep their content up to date. Very price sensitive. I know that's always important, but also, a great partner to check out. We do also have our partnerships with Go1, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy. So all available to have that integration with. And nonetheless, we're always happy to talk with any of you about any of the content partners. It all truly depends on, your budget, what you're looking to do, the format that your teams prefer, but based on some of those needs, we'll always be able to recommend the best solution from our ecosystem on what would work best for your organization. But nonetheless, that is all from me on my side right now. I will go ahead and pass it over to Ms. Shaley to kind of give us some introduction on what your team has been doing within the LXP.
Okay, perfect. Well, when I talked to Amy originally, we talked about how putting this into practice is sometimes the hardest part, right? Like we think about learning and we all want lifelong learners within our organizations and we want a learning culture, but we're busy, our teams are busy. And so being within an HR team and trying to navigate that space, it can be difficult. So I would love for this to be a conversation. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, but I'll share a little bit about what we did at RKD Group. So first, we really wanted to design learning experiences that were integrated with business strategy. And I had come into RKD Group about a year and a half ago during a pretty significant systems transformation. And so I was working on the people side of change for our organization and really was trying to navigate the space of we're transforming this organization. We are working in all new systems. And so we need to upskill our teams to be able to utilize these systems. But the reality is we were dealing with a lot of change beyond just the systems change, right? And I know for a lot of you on the call, whatever organization you're tuning in from, you likely are experiencing change too. I think we're all feeling it externally and internally within our organizations. And so really a primary goal in upskilling our teams for the business strategy that we were working through, we also wanted to create learners who were adaptable to change in general, right? So that we have that lifelong learning pathway. Like Sarah from Open Sesame, I have a background in higher education. And so for me, really finding a platform that supported all of our initiatives was really important for the learners themselves, for our employees. And so when we began designing skills courses, we realized this is the perfect opportunity to integrate this with our performance management. And we had been an in-person organization that after COVID had become fully remote and really dispersed across the United States. And so even the idea of doing asynchronous training for some of our system skill sets was brand new. This idea of like, we can have people taking courses on their own time and fitting it into their schedule, whether they're on the West Coast or the East Coast or abroad. And that was kind of started our journey really to finding Engagedly. And really what it allowed us to do is then build from there. So we launched our coursework within Engagedly alongside our systems transformation launches. And by having some of that required training that like aligned along the way, we had this learning pathway for folks to get into Engagedly. And then as an HR team, we started layering in different performance management components. So we layered in our performance cycle shortly after one of our systems launches and really encouraged managers to utilize some of those system integrations of saying, hey, these are some courses I would like you to take during your employee journey here. And having a more integrated approach to learning in general, I think is really what allowed us to have some success in Engagedly. And really, as you're seeing some of those pretty sides of Engagedly, right? Like we're talking about, it's a pretty interface. For us, it really allowed our HR team to become data storytellers and really to be able to say, hey, this is working for us and here's how it's working. These are the numbers of people that are taking our skills courses, but while they're in there, they're also taking some of our other leadership development courses. We're noticing a difference in how they're engaging in their own growth journey as a team. And so truly that was kind of the value of having this whole big integrated system. You kind of are hearing on like the business side of, oh, Open Sesame offers great coursework, right? So we partner with Open Sesame and pulled in some leadership development, some management training, some skills coursework, so that we had this robust library to begin with while we were internally as a team, as a learning team, developing those skills courses that I mentioned that support our systems training. So when we were kind of doing this holistic transformative approach, we had really good engagement, and that was the goal from the start. And we are still in the midst of a lot of change. I will be the first to say that RKD Group is in the midst of it all right now, and we're not perfect, but what we've seen is departments really digging in. So I mentioned in the chat that we utilize learning pathways for our onboarding standardization. We're now at the stage of, we have standardized onboarding for all employees joining our company, but now we're starting to get into the department specific ownership of onboarding pathways. And so we're having some of our departmental teams build coursework with our HR team to begin to roll out so that it's more personalized. Amy mentioned that personalization will be key as we move into the future years of change ahead and being able to upskill our teams. And so for us, that personalization is critical, but also to have departmental ownership because they know what they need within their daily work, right? And I know sometimes learning within orgs can get a bad rap, right? Because it's maybe associated fully with compliance or fully with that once a year course. And what we're really trying to do is normalize this idea that it can be that, right? We have some of our compliance courses that are once a year that we need to have teams take, but we also have this opportunity to build really robust learning pathways for our teams that are not just about getting the job done. They're about developing leaders at every level of our organization. And with that, it really highlights, I think, the fact that change is inevitable, but we want to equip our teams with the ability to face it head on. So that's kind of where we've been and where we're headed. Again, I would love to hear questions if there's specifics that you're learning or your learning organization or your learning team. Maybe it's just your one-person team even within your HR group, but some of the challenges that you might be facing, because as we've been uncovering some of those challenges for ourselves, what we've found is the partnership that we've had with our learning team between Open Sesame and Engagedly really has allowed us to move fast. And I think when we talk just about the way technology is influencing learning, the way that AI is this new springboard to the way our employees learn, we really have an opportunity to come alongside our employees and really see that merge where we're designing true, thoughtful, meaningful learning experiences and not just dropping coursework into an LMS. And so that's kind of the mindset shift that has to happen, right? Of like, we are designers. I mentioned in HR, we're trying to navigate how to be data storytellers. We sometimes are like the holders of all the data, right? Like all of the information of all of our employees. But then how do we really tell the story so that the organization knows where we're headed next and what critical initiatives we need to focus on? And we're really able to do that with the platform. So,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Here, I'll turn on my camera.
Of this, Meredith.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for this. This is great. And I apologize I came in a little late, but I love hearing like the real world application of how you're using things, not just kind of like the abstract, here's sort of some ideas.
Mhm.
So as you think about integrating learning and development with performance management, I'm kind of curious about the softer side of that. Like, it's one thing to have the technical pathway to be able to do it. It's another thing to say, hey, managers, as you're having a performance management conversation, here's how you technically do it, but here's how you introduce a learning aspect to your team member. Here's how you help get them to adopt it. Here's how you create some awareness around that learning need and some next steps. So I'm kind of curious about the softer side of that process and how you might have equipped your people leaders, your managers to do that, as well as how you measure impact. So engagement is one piece. Did you complete the course? But also, is there a part of the performance management tool where you're saying, did we actually move the needle on behavior and see some improvement in that area?
I love this question or these questions, Meredith. It sounds like we need to grab coffee, a virtual coffee date at some point and talk more about this, because this is exactly what we were struggling with, is figuring out how do we make these connections between coursework and then the tactical use or the practice of it, right? And so one way that we've been working with our managers is to bring in coursework that is accessible for leaders at every level or individuals at every level of our organization, and then providing them with actual pathways for the way they're doing performance management one-to-one within their team. And so we've been developing bringing in coursework from Open Sesame, actually, that we can say, hey, here's a quick 10-minute course that we want your employees to work through. Here's some ideas for how you can integrate this into a staff meeting and have a debrief about it if they all take it at the same time. Here's the ways that you can follow up in a one-on-one, and here's some questions with that. And so we've kind of been functioning as like a learning resource for all of our managers in the way that we piece those two together. With our performance cycle that we did, we had a lot of courses that we said, this is the coursework that we would love for our managers to take headed into the performance cycle. It was courses around giving and receiving feedback, and then provided some live trainings as well. And here's how we're integrating this, because that was kind of the key, it was a key disconnect that we had to help connect the dots or tether this, was showing managers how to synthesize that information. You're not just watching a 20-minute course on giving and receiving feedback to learn a few things. You're figuring out how you're then going to integrate that into your next one-on-one or your performance eval debrief. And so again, by kind of creating these pathways for the managers themselves, we were figuring out how to integrate that a little bit more. to see the value of it on the back end, the engagement of it. We had actually a really successful performance cycle where we had 99% completion rates of our performance cycle, and that was really high for us. And so with that, we took a really integrated approach, and I really attribute it to the fact that we did a lot of promotion on the front end of, we want managers in these courses, we want employees in these courses thinking about their SMART goals, getting ready for their performance cycle and coming prepared with their goals and being ready to fill out their evals productively and talk about what they want to learn and what skill sets are important to them in the coming year. And then reiterating on the follow-up meetings of, okay, how are we going to build this plan together and utilize the goals module to really map this out so that there's follow through and accountability in the learning itself. And that's what I think moved the needle for us, is the integration of all of it and kind of dreaming up the ways that all of these things connect. So it's not just a one and done, I learned a little bit and now I move on with my life, right? I learned a lot, and how do I integrate this with my everyday? So hopefully that kind of helped with that question. And I'm wondering, the second question, did I answer your second question, kind of the second piece of that?
Yeah, a little.
Exactly what it
was
was.
really around how you measure the true impact of learning and development, which is like the holy grail, right? We're all trying to figure that out. But like, I do think that so we, in our performance management process, we have our annual reviews, and then we have goal setting, and we encourage our people leaders to work with their team members to incorporate one development goal. And we're still working on refining what a development goal is. Is it completion of a course, or is it actual showing that you learned something and are applying it, right? Yeah. And so I'm kind of curious about how you are approaching that, objective-based, outcome-based goal versus just like a check mark on, we did the course.
Yeah, we did the course and we're done and we walk away. Yeah. And I feel like Amy's maybe jumping ahead here to jump in. Okay. Okay, perfect. I was like, wait, she wants to say something?
No, I moved my mouse and it changed the slide.
Okay,
No,
okay, perfect. Then I'm going to kind of respond to that quickly, and then other facilitators, if you want to jump in, please do. But we even changed our rating scale for our performance cycle, where our each like individual definitions of our rating scale 1 through 5, we included how much learning was either needed to bump up that number in the future. So like if they were at a 2, we wrote in there like some learning will be required to grow in this role and be sustainable in this role, all the way up to the 5 was, this is the gold standard, and you would be able to lead the company in a conversation and in learning around this area, whatever area it fell into within our performance evals. So we really again tried to bring this through line of, if you want to be known as the expert in this, then here's how we need you to be performing, and really setting up those aspirational metrics as well. And then navigating through that with the coursework that we were providing when we're saying we want solutions oriented and problem solvers in our organization. And that's kind of something we're rating within our performance eval cycle. We were also putting in the coursework to support that, of here's how you can master some decision making, here's how you can be a proactive problem solver, and then navigating those conversations moving forward with their managers of what does it take to build into that area where we're a high performer and impact player. And again, it's metrics we're still navigating, right? Of figuring out, we've been in Engagedly for a year, but figuring out, okay, if our performance cycle numbers are here, and then we're now doing all these learning and development initiatives to follow, what does that look like? Our next milestone is our annual engagement survey. And so being able to pull some of that data to see, are we creating a learning culture, and do we see the numbers against some of our benchmarks and against global benchmarks to find out how our employees are viewing this themselves, and then where do we need to make initiatives that align with some of this data that we're gathering there even. So ongoing process, we have not perfected, and that's where I think you're in it too, likely, right, Meredith, of you're navigating this daily of how do we create more integrated programs. And that's the learning design that we're all in, right? Like, it's more than just having an LMS and saying we offer this, it's how do we design pathways for high performance. So
and then just a quick question for you, Shaylee. When you have those courses with Open Sesame, before your performance reviews are started, how far in advance are you sending some of those courses out?
Not early enough this past year, to be honest. No. We got things out, I would say, a month or 2 ahead of time, where we started really like socializing this concept. Again, we were like building the bridge as we walked on it, right? As we were rolling stuff out with Engagedly. and our lovely partner at Open Sesame was like right there with us. And like, here's their curation team was helping us with like, here's curated courses that you could utilize. Here's some pathways for performance management that these are the courses you can consider as we were trying to like rapidly navigate this. And I mean, and you're all probably experiencing this. HR teams are small but mighty, right? So we've got other things going on day to day as we're trying to design for learning. And so next year we have a plan where we kind of have locked some things down. Part of our organization is actually in a performance cycle right now, and we started about a month ahead of time with them as well for sending out that coursework, getting that socialized, answering questions, having some live calls to then prepare for the performance cycle itself. And even just the fact that we were changing the platform, that was new for managers. And then next year we'll give ourselves more space. I will say that. Yeah. Be fully transparent here with this group.
Yeah, it's all about the baby steps, but in the right direction. So
yeah, but that's the beauty of this system, right? Is we've learned a lot, and having dashboards to show our metrics and to be able to say this worked or this didn't work, we can then back things up and plan better for next year. And our small but mighty HR team is able to do that because of our partnership with the tech. And that's where sometimes technology, I think, for an HR team can be a little bit scary, just in general. And really, for us, it's been a really easy switch and integration for our team to figure out how we change our workflows. And it has created more time for us to think bigger about our learning design by having technology to support what we're doing and having wonderful teams to support us too. And it feels like this group effort in developing lifelong learners. And that's the community aspect of learning that for a long time, I think organizations were siloed, and our LXP design or our learning design has allowed us to think through how are we breaking down silos within our organization and even within our industry, because we're gaining efficiencies and we're finding the knowledge that we need to make sure that we're really forward thinking in where we're headed.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Sounds like you guys have done some really great things. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right, well, we'll turn it over to Sarah to talk to us a little bit more about Open Sesame. And I think it's become apparent from what Shaylee was saying too, that the technology, the platform that you're using is one portion of the strategy, but it really is your plan, your path that is going to truly set you up for success going through that. And that's why we're so glad to have partners like Open Sesame to be part of that. So Sarah, why don't you share a little bit about your organization and your passion here around learning management?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if there's anything I even need to say about Open Sesame. I think Shaylee just was the best.
I raved the whole time.
Right there. I'm not surprised to hear that you had 99% engagement in your performance cycle, because I spoke with Shaylee's customer success manager at Open Sesame yesterday, and she was just floored by how quickly they've onboarded and gotten incredibly high utilization, engagement, course ratings across the board with their team. So they're clearly doing something right. But I wanted to speak to you all today a little bit about what you can do to ensure that you've got a really robust L&D program. This isn't just specific to Open Sesame. This is regardless of any content vendors that you're working with. Some things that you can think about to ensure that you've got this continual cycle going of understanding and skill building for your employees, supported by these 4 key pillars here. So the first pillar that we look at is discover, and this is understanding the needs, the interest of your workforce. There's ton of issues going around these days with disengagement from employees. Anywhere from 50 to 85% of employees are disengaged at work. And one of the best ways that you can combat this is by having training applicable to employees' roles and tied to career growth, so that they know that you're meaningfully investing with them. There's a few ways you can do this. You can, analyze employee performance data, conduct needs assessments, gather feedback internally, leverage tools that platforms like Engagedly are able to offer you on where there maybe are skills gaps. You can also work with companies like Open Sesame. As Shaylee mentioned, we have a curation team that will work with you to understand your organization's challenges, build out frameworks, competency mapping, things like that, that can help build tailored plans for you to help address your team's needs. Regardless, we encourage whatever vendor you're working with that you have a sizable amount of content available to them, whether it's role specific, project specific, or covering just general business skills, so that your employees have a balance between developing the skills that they need to be proficient in their current position, while looking to the future and developing the skills that they need to move into whatever role is next for them. The next thing that we encourage you to think about is how you're curating the content that you have, not just in terms of topics, but in terms of learning styles. So we've got a really diverse workforce these days. Everything from Gen Z all the way to the silent generation is represented. We've got a broad global and cultural mix in our organizations, and how these different individuals learn is going to vary from employee to employee, team to team, company to company. So it's not enough just to have, your traditional presenter focused content in your LMS. You need to have a variety of learning styles represented to ensure that you're getting the engagement that you'd like. Again, working with a platform like Engagedly that has a really interactive interface and gamification options will help drive better engagement, but also consider the modalities that you have within your off-the-shelf learning content. Do you have book summaries, audiobooks, podcasts? Do you have micro learning? Do you have things like augmented reality and virtual reality, which is something that we keep hearing about more and more? Look to vendors, see what they've got, see what kind of representation that they have in the modalities that they're offering. Open Sesame's got a variety of learning styles available in all of the areas that I've mentioned. And again, we've got subject matter experts that will work with you to understand what is the learning style that's going to resonate with each of your employees to build the learning pathways that are not only hitting the right topics, but hitting the right modalities to increase that engagement. I mentioned Shaylee and the team at RKD Group has done a fantastic job of this. All of the courses that they have are predominantly in the 4 to 5 star range right now, which indicates there's a really high learner satisfaction. So they're doing a good job of understanding their learners' needs and their learning preferences and getting that right content into their LMS. Next up, we've got Create. And I know we're probably a little bit over it on time, so I'm sorry. I'm
Good.
to buzz through this. Create. So this is where you craft personalized learning curriculum so that your learners experience engaging, effective learning paths for upskilling and reskilling. This is where Engagedly's platform updates really come into play. Caroline talked about some of the new tools available for identifying skills gaps, recommending relevant courses, building personalized learning pathways. When you layer that on top of the custom curation work that Open Sesame's curation team does to understand your organization's training goals, map the right content, and integrate those courses directly into Engagedly, you get a really powerful engine that continuously drives workforce upskilling and reskilling all in one place. And that's another reason why it's really important to have a breadth of content in your LMS, as it ensures your organization has the relevant training available to address the evolving needs of your employees. There's tons of benefits to this. Having a team that proactively addresses skills gaps results in a 30% increase in productivity. It also improves employee loyalty and job satisfaction, resulting in a 59% less turnover. So it has broad ranging effects on your employees and organization overall. And the last thing that we want to talk about is Inspire. And this is where it's really important to connect with your learners where they are by providing training in the flow of work as much as possible to ensure that the impact of the training is directly felt in their day-to-day work. I don't think it was mentioned today, but I know Engagedly has integrations into systems like Slack and Teams that ensure everything that's going on within their platform isn't seen as something separate and time-consuming, but it really seamlessly flows into your employees' work life. That's super critical, as is meeting employees where they're at in terms of accessibility on mobile devices. That caters to the needs of our diverse workforces nowadays that aren't necessarily just desk-bound professionals, but deskless workers like retail associates, your outside sales reps, your warehouse staff, even medical professionals. And mobile accessibility is crucial because it also aligns with the reality that even those of us that work at a desk are increasingly reliant on our smartphones. I'm pretty sure mine is basically glued to my hand. And studies have shown that 70% of workers report an increase in motivation to learn when they can use their mobile devices. So when you bring together platforms like Engagedly and Open Sesame that support a mobile-friendly approach, you enable employees to access the learning content that they need anytime, anywhere, and that can be a really significant driver of engagement. And that also ensures that your employees, like I said, are getting the content that they need to upskill and reskill themselves into their daily routines and into the flow of work. The last thing here is just, it's really important to iterate on this. So leverage the data that you get from Engagedly and from the content partners that you're working with to iterate and improve on this process. Use, qualitative and quantitative ways to check and refine your employees' understanding, and then use that to better optimize and the content that you're curating creating and delivering to them. And that helps you to deliver on an organizational environment where employees feel supported and valued, heard and prioritized, invested in for the long term. And that also allows you to have confidence that you're building the skills that you need across your company, especially since Amy mentioned 44% of the core skills that are going to be needed by employees by 2028 are going to be different than what they are today. So it's really important that you are looking to the future and building those skills, today. I think on the next slide, we've got some outcomes, but I'm not sure if we're going to share this deck out. All of these outcomes are linked to case studies that we have. So if anyone's interested in learning more about some of these results that we've achieved, please feel free to either reach out or use the links here in this deck.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing all of that with us, Sarah. And one of the things that really hit home for me was talking about the different learning styles, right? And being able to meet employees where they are with different types of learning. You talked about mobile, right? And then you mentioned podcasts.
Yeah.
That's such a great opportunity when people are commuting to work, or heck, if they want to take a walk during their, to break up their day if they're working from home remotely. The fact that they could click on and listen to something that's helping them with that upskilling is huge, right? It's giving people all new ways of connecting and learning within their business.
Absolutely.
We do have a few more minutes. If anybody wants to ask any additional questions, please feel free. And Kelly, I saw your message off to the side. I will certainly reach out to you and we'll chat about that directly. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this is just the start of this conversation. This is not a one and done session for us. We believe in learning so much and engagedly, and that it is truly such an integral part of the employee experience. And so not just within our platform and what we're trying to do to better enable organizations to facilitate it, but also ensuring that we're connecting you to other people. I loved what Meredith said about it hits different, right? When you listen to a practitioner that's in my shoes every single day. And we want to bring you together to have those types of conversations. So be on the lookout for roundtable discussions and things that are less formal even than this, right? No presentation needed. We just come together and we talk about the challenges, the successes, and the opportunities we're having within learning within our organization, so we can really grow and benefit from that knowledge from each other. So if you're interested in engaging more with that, please reach out if you're an Engagedly client today with your account manager. If you're not, then reach out to us, reach out to our sales team. Caroline can probably drop a link in there for where you can set up a demo, learn more about the system, learn more about our LXP offering, or just sign up and contribute to our marketing, right? See what's going on our LinkedIn pages and things like that, because we are sharing more than just what we're doing on our platform. We really do want to help to be strategic advisors in this space and really bring learning to the forefront of HR strategies. Thank you to Shaylee. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to Caroline for joining us today. We so appreciate your time, and for everybody who joined us and contributed to the conversation. We'll be sharing out the video of this and as well as the deck, and certainly connect with everybody on LinkedIn. If you want to take a second and write down the names of everybody who's on the call, you can reach out to them directly as well.
Thank you so much, Amy. And yes, thank you so much to all of you who took the time to join today. If you are interested in seeing a demonstration, you're an Engagedly client, please reach out to your account manager. If you are not currently an Engagedly client, I did drop my email in there. Feel free to just shoot me a message and I will certainly get you set up with one.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a great rest of your week, and we hope to talk to you all again soon.